Broadcasting alive from the Green Room Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, it's the At Home Show with Josh Carey and David Bates, celebrating 25 years of home and garden wisdom. Without further ado, your hosts, Josh Carey and David Bates.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the At Home Show, it's your Saturday morning tradition. It has been coming to you for over 25 years now. That spans 2 centuries, 2 millennia, and 4 decades. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, we're here from you, or for you, to hear from you. David Bates is not in the building today, guys.
No, he's not.
He's out and about on secret, and double secret assignment.
Yeah, we have.
That's Adam Chapman, by the way, folks. I'm Josh Carey.
Hello, everyone.
Yep, Tyler's
Thanks.
over there.
Hi, good morning.
Okay.
Good
Got
to
the
see
whole
ya.
crew in-house. We're going to have a regular show for you, and it's, when the cat's away and the mice will play, they say. So David's away, so is he the big cat?
I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tomcat?
Yes,
Tomcat?
all of it.
He's more of a David cat.
David Cat?
Yeah, he's his own genre cat.
I think so.
All righty, folks, we're here for you. Got to start off with weather because it's going to be gorgeous. So you're going to have no excuses today. I mean, it's a little chilly.
Yes. Now, if you're leaving the house right now and you're listening to us on earbuds or something like that while you're, now I will say, I don't know if anybody saw this driving home yesterday, talking about the weather, but there was still ice all over the trees. And looking west where the sun was going down, and you could see it. It was just gorgeous, almost magical.
It was it
was cool.
Williamson County area. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. So that means all that ice is still there because last night or this morning it's around 18 degrees or 20 degrees depending on where you are.
Right.
I think here right now it's probably around 21, 22 with the sun coming up. Going to get to 50 as you said, Josh. It's going to be a nice day today, tomorrow, and Monday. Going to get up to the big 60 on Monday. Going to be a little warm. Might need your short sleeves.
Nah.
Just your short sleeves.
Nah.
After that, it's going to get cloudy on Tuesday, still warm. Going to have a front moving through with rain possible. It doesn't look like it's going to be a whole lot, but then what do you know? Next weekend, it's going to be nice again.
Sure it will be. Sure it will.
That's what they say.
So, you guys expecting to be busy out here at Bates Nursery today?
We shall see. We've been busy on Saturdays because it's been nice every Saturday, seems like, this winter.
Well, it's a no excuses day. I mean, with the sun shining, you'll be able to go out there and survey the yard, the front yard and the backyard. Don't forget the sides.
Yeah, can't forget the sides.
But if you're out and about, you come by, you drive by the street, almost looks like you haven't got anything at them, but I know for a fact that everything is undercover and in the safe place for you.
Yes.
Selection is great. Pottery selection is, I've never seen as much pottery as you guys have got right now.
Me either. Me
You
either.
love that pottery.
Oh.
You love it.
Okay, every color. And what was that? Who was that voice? That's Caroline
No
Gann.
wonder.
Yep.
Yup.
Yep.
Good morning.
Good morning. Here, let me cut over here. Boom.
Yay.
Caroline and Austin.
Hi.
Hi.
Good
Hi.
morning.
We're here.
Glad
We're
to be
ready.
here. It's
Can't hear you, Austin.
can't hear me.
Yes, we can.
There we go. I couldn't hear for a
Flying
second there. I
through
couldn't hear him.
Something we need to know about Adam is his hearing is going.
What?
It's-
Can't hear.
No, I
Did you
literally
hear that?
couldn't hear him for a second.
but yes,
But
glad
that
to
is
be here.
true. It is going.
Yeah. And yeah, speaking of the ice, yesterday I saw the same thing, Adam. The drive home was beautiful. The barbed wire fences, so pretty. I love when they're just covered in ice. It looks so good.
It's
That
gorgeous.
is the most Cheatham County thing you will hear today, people.
It is though. Those panel fencing.
The panel fencing too. Yeah, really all
Ice
of it.
everywhere.
There's ice all over the place. This morning was a pretty drive in. The only problem is that a lot of our evergreen trees, mainly juniper, I've noticed, like the eastern red cedar, the cedar trees we talk
They're
about,
bowed over.
they're starting to bow over and
Yeah.
break. I saw a number of them breaking.
Well,
so that's no good.
I didn't. I've seen some actually pulled all the way over.
Yeah, I know.
So.
It's crazy. Magnolia is the same way. Magnolia really that heavy ice. Magnolia is bad about breaking and not bending. They don't bend very well. They just break.
Oh, sad.
So
Ever seen
They're
any
not
dead
flexible.
Bradford pear trees around anywhere?
no, you can't kill a Bradford pear. Jeff.
Really?
Unfortunately.
Hey, speaking of,
Speaking
I
of-
heard Ohio I believe, is now the first state to ban in the whole state the sale of Bradford pear.
I
Wow.
did read an article on that the other day. Yeah.
It's like against the law.
Should
Not
be
even just the
everywhere.
plant law, the real law.
the real law.
So that's cool. I mean, Ohio kind of has the same flora as us, you know.
Kind
ish,
of, kind
you know,
of.
for
They're
the most part.
they're probably actually a true zone 6/5.
Yeah, and take a little bit colder, but really our hardwood trees are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, no more Bradford pear in Ohio. So there you go, Josh. I guess you can move.
The movement is building. Are you sure about being first? I thought South Carolina was the first.
I don't know. I made that up. I don't know if it was first or not.
Okay.
I just heard that this happened recently. So there you go.
First heat heard.
Yep, the first I heard.
Well, folks, it is Saturday morning, and it is the At Home Show. So that means that we take your questions. We'll be monitoring all social media platforms, YouTube in particular, and Facebook page. But every week, Caroline and the crew send out a little thing that asks you to ask a question on Instagram. So if you're not following, do so you can get that and make sure that you see.
Why
that.
are you not following?
I don't know.
I can't think of a reason not to.
Shouldn't be. But speaking of that, do we have our first question for this morning?
Oh, yes, we
Okay.
do. Let me get it pulled up. I'll sing to you while I do. Oh, don't sigh at me. I'm old. I don't know how phones work. Just kidding.
She's old.
I'm so old. You saw my picture from last week. All right, here we go. Austin, someone's asking you a question. How's your blue Atlas cedar? Mine's getting colored needles again. Recovery. And then they have a little yay emoji.
Who asked this?
This is from the only Cass.
The only calf?
Cass. Kas.
Oh,
All right. Good question. Great question. Mine's not great. It's just not. I hate
so
to say
sad.
it, but I mean, okay, so I've looked at it, and I've looked at it very deeply. From afar, it's like bronze brown, if you will, like the needles that are left on there. Doesn't look good at all from a distance. But I walk up and get up on it, and like the back sides of the needles still have some green when you really look. And then I look deeper into where the buds are going to crack for next spring, and they seem to still be intact. So they don't seem like they're frozen off or falling off or like, not or open already. Like you can kind of tell when buds look like they're still intact and when they're not. And for the what was that?
That was me. Sorry. Told you I didn't know how to work phones.
I was really on something. Anyway, Cass, I don't know. Yeah, I'm hoping it's okay. I love that plant. This is going to be the third year. So that third season is when trees really jump. It's whenever you really notice a difference. And I wanted to notice the difference this year. And
You are noticing a difference.
you're right. It's very different right now. But like I said, those secondary buds seem to be like they're still intact. So I'm waiting. I hope that I see a flush. Blue Atlases are funny, and Deodar Cedars are funny. It's like half of them look bad, and then half of them don't. We have one.
This is why we've advised people to wait until spring, because you just don't know what the extent of the damage.
You really don't. Even people that look at plants every single day, like all of us in this room, and you still don't know. But like I said, as far as I can see, I still think it's alive. It's holding on. It has not shed its needles. I will say that. So,
okay. That's two. That's not me.
That was not me.
It was me. It's okay.
Oh my God, Tyler.
Y'all keep going.
I got to say, my Feelin' Blue Deodar Cedar, I thought looked real dead. It was brown, and it's starting to kind of turn greenish blue again. It looks terrible, but it's not dead.
Yeah.
The only conifer I have was, and you guys brought some in here for me, is the black dragon.
Yes.
And it's dead as a hammer.
Oh no.
So
I know. I'm worried about Cryptomeria. There's some big ones too, like some big, like Radicans is a variety of cultivar that we sell that gets very large. And I had a couple guests the other day ask me about theirs, and they said theirs looks really brown, and it's like big. It's like 20 foot tall. So I really hope Cryptomeria big ones didn't die like that, but they don't look good right now. They really don't.
My Hinoki cypress. We were talking about that yesterday. Looks, I don't know if it's going to be okay.
Camiacypris in general, that whole genus takes a hit whenever we get cold. And a couple seasons ago, we had that problem, and I think that was more so we had drought issues and stuff.
well, we did last year too. I think that's why a lot of the evergreens and I think it's why the laurels in particular suffered so much is because it was so dry
stressed
last
and
year.
then-
They were already stressed
Yeah.
going into it.
I agree with that. So,
My Mugo seemed to have come through it just absolutely gorgeous. It grew more last summer and into this year than I've seen any other time.
Yeah.
yeah, Mugo pine, I don't see much issue with that. Or like Alberta spruce is totally fine on the cold. They welcome it. But yeah, there's definitely still a number of plants out there. And then, like I said, with this ice, it's just been crazy. We're going to have breakage all over the place. So, man,
Happy
this
times.
year's been a weird winter.
It has. All right. Easiest plant or bush for 3 hours of morning sun, 2 to 3 feet tall, preferably almost impossible to kill.
Well,
Wow.
That was a good question, though.
Evergreen,
They gave us
evergreen
all
or not
the
evergreen?
things.
Yeah, that's
Didn't
Evergreen,
say.
evergreen. I would say Leucothoi,
there. You go. That's a good little native. Little
and
East
it's
Tennessee
native. And
It
I've
is.
noticed that the Leucothoi I've seen don't look as bad as other broadleaves.
No, they
around.
don't.
Just like rhododendrons,
I
if they're
know.
established, they don't look because they're native. They're,
Right.
they've we say this has never happened, but it's happened over thousands of years where plants have
eons.
Yeah, so
Now, what was the first one that you mentioned? The
Leucothoi or feder bush is
That's
the
a plant
common
a lot of people
Okay.
don't know about, Adam. You need to tell them.
We had it on the show last week.
Yeah. So, what's the newer ones that we have, Austin?
Rainbow is one that's got some cool color.
Scarletta is another
Scarletta.
one. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they're going to be dwarf. They look like a laurel from afar if you don't really know what you're looking at. I think the leaves are even more pointed than a laurel is. They're very pointed spear-like or arrowhead-like. And in the wintertime, they'll turn kind of a deep crimson, maroon color.
Very cool.
So, and when I've been to North Carolina up there in the mountains, they're all over the place.
Yeah, they really are.
up
I've
there.
seen that too.
Yeah,
I've
so-
seen that firsthand.
Will they stay in the size range that they were asking
Yeah.
about?
Oh yeah. The Leucothoi, the rainbow gets like 3 foot. Scarletta gets about 3 foot.
There's even one that I knew, and I think Monrovia grows like Little Flame or something
Yeah,
like that.
that one
It's a-
stays even smaller.
that
It
one's
only
even
gets
smaller.
supposed to get like 2 foot. We'll see if that's the case.
They're trying to keep them tighter, I think, is kind of the key, because Leucothoi, if you've seen them natively, they're kind of a rangy, woodland type shrub. So they're a little bit sparse as they age. So giving them a good cutback, to kind of keep them tighter if you want them tighter, is a good practice.
Yeah, that's
So,
what they do at the nurseries when they grow them.
yeah,
That's what
they
do.
just keep them tight by cutting them pretty much. And that goes with a lot of things.
Yeah.
But
I would say another one, possibly just as another example, would be that. What's that new American holly that's really small? Really
Delaware something, or
Maryland's something.
Rhode Island,
one
Middle
of them.
Atlantic, yeah.
Anyway, we that's another native one that stays small. It's American holly. It's evergreen. Those actually came through this bad weather fairly well.
Is it the Maryland dwarf?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's it.
That's what it is. Which is amazing to me.
Opaca?
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
Ilex opaca, which is
Ilex
our native holly.
Yep.
Speaking of, American holly is the state tree of Delaware.
Oh, wow.
That just popped in my head
all
randomly.
of the state trees.
Well, don't quiz me on them, but I've tried to
Coming
learn
later
them.
in the show.
But it's still amazing to me that that hybridizers can get or find, plant collectors or whatever can take a 30 to 40-foot American holly tree, and then somehow produce a dwarf variety of that literally like hugs the ground. It's like 2 to 3 feet tall, but it's got the same leaf shape. And everything.
It looks exactly like.
It looks exactly like American holly.
It just stays really small.
But it stays super small. It's so cool. I wonder if that was a sport. I bet that was.
Well,
probably.
I've seen them. I'm sure you have out hiking. I've seen them all ranges of sizes and shapes and stuff. It just depends on where they're growing.
It's true.
So I'm sure somebody was walking through the woods somewhere and thought, "Hey, I'll see."
There's a little prostate one. Let's take it home.
That's what Don Shadow did all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He would
Famous
just,
plant
He would
collector.
just find stuff.
I know. It's amazing.
So-
That's how dwarf Alberta spruce came about too.
Yep. It was a witch's broom, right?
Yeah, it's just a witch's broom up in the tree, which is just a sport, which is a mutation in the plant world, and it was harvested and it was grown and it was a successful, find.
Well, in
and,
some places,
yeah,
it's too hot here for them.
it really is. It is, and we have spider mites, and man, do spider mites love dwarf Alberta spruce.
Oh, God. And so many house plants. Okay, let's get another question in.
Okay.
Y'all were nerding out about plants. That was fun.
Isn't that what we're supposed to do?
Yes, that is what this show is. When is the best time to trim arborvitaes? Mine are crowded together and 14 feet. I I think they ran out of space, so maybe 14 feet tall.
Probably.
Yeah.
Together.
Well, I mean, I would say there's probably several times you could prune them. You usually the best time to prune things is right before the spring flush. And so that would be one. And then, in the summer, sometime early summer, or, when you're going to get another flush and have time for that flush to harden off before we get cold weather again. So
yeah,
either one of those times is fine.
But if they're too big now,
might as well.
That's the thing. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're dormant. They're not going to hurt them by cutting them right now. And especially with arborvitae, especially if they're getting too wide on you and they're starting to touch, I think maybe that's where you're going with that. It's a good shear. It's a...
Yeah, and that's the key. That you don't want to hack them so far that you get into brown wood only, because then they won't really recover very well. You got to leave some green on the outside for them to recover from.
Yeah.
So.
And plant them, at good spacing when you first start. That's a good key. Don't crowd them.
they don't look good that way.
No.
Move them closer together.
Ideally, with arborvitaes or most evergreen, conifers, you want to leave them some space so that you don't really ever have to touch them.
Exactly. That's the key.
So
we planted ours. We have arborvitae, green giant specifically on the back of the property, and we planted those about 8 feet apart on center, and they're kicking.
yeah, I did 10 foot on mine, and it took them about and they were just a straight line, and it took them. They were 15, 16 years old now. They're 30 foot tall. I planted them. They were 2 foot tall.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's an amazing plant.
2 foot tall.
Yeah,
and they didn't take a hit, did they?
No, because I watered them during those 2 dry spells.
You had to this year.
Yeah,
this year you really did.
I've seen arborvitaes when I did that garden club meeting, the Hendersonville Garden Club. Shout out to them on Thursday.
They have beer when you went?
They had food though. It was good.
Okay.
They fed me.
Okay.
But there was a lot of arborvitaes that looked really bad in Hendersonville. A lot of them. They were they were beyond bronze. It was brown. So. I don't know. I told them, I don't know. Maybe they'll recover. I don't know.
Yeah. That's as good as we can do.
Yeah.
We can only hope. All right. How do I get my gardenia plant to bloom? It just produces more leaves.
Plant them further south than here.
Plant them further south. Well, some people do keep them. They bring them in the winter. I know my mom has a couple, but they do like to stay pretty wet. So if you're letting them dry out too much, that will prohibit them from blooming. So that could be something. They're not going to bloom this time of year. They usually bloom like late spring to early fall. So I would suggest if you haven't done it yet or haven't done it before, go ahead and fertilize it as we move into early spring. And then you can use like an azalea fertilizer. It'll help boost those blooms.
Yes, they're acid loving.
They are acid loving. And yeah, keep it watered, and you should have some blooms come out from that.
I'll tell you though, gardenia is a funny one.
As
a house plant specifically.
Yeah.
In the ground, I would never plant a gardenia here. I'm sorry, I just would never.
No, I've seen too many dead ones.
Too many dead ones, or they
seen
look
some
so
good ones,
bad
though.
that they may as well be dead.
Yes.
I mean, they don't really stay evergreen here. We're not like in South Carolina. South Carolina, they do great.
The best one I've seen for here was Climbs Hardy. And I think it's because it's a smaller leafed one and it doesn't get very big. It stays closer to the ground, so it kind of uses the ground warmth to kind of help it. But even those, I mean, like this past, freeze that we had in December. I mean, they're no, it's not.
So in a container might be the better way of doing it.
Oh, sure. If you're going to do a gardenia, you're going to need to move it in and out.
Yeah.
And that's really the
and
only
that's
way.
not really fun.
Yeah, and then when you do that though, even still, like gardenia's funny. They're just like temperamental. They don't love it inside at all. Usually, I mean, they can be okay, but then they sporadically bloom, kind of like when they want. Gardenia's just weird.
They have a mind of their own.
They're divas.
They kind of are.
They're divas, kind of like this one sitting next to me. Just kidding.
Maybe that's why he doesn't like them.
Too much, too many similarities.
We argue,
there. Yeah, y'all fight too much. Too much alike. All right. Do you sell black elephant ear plants? I guess here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And are they okay for our zone? We do sell a variety of black elephant ear. We have some in stock right now. I think it might be the Black Magic. Pretty dormant, so they look a little bit sad. Most of those, I would suggest here in Zone 7, digging them up and bringing them inside because they're not necessarily going to overwinter in ground here. Now, if you want to try it, there are some varieties that are a little bit hardier. I can't think of any off the top of my head. y'all might know. But if you wanted to leave them in the ground, I do that sometimes and just, heavily mulch over them to help insulate them and then hope for the best.
You have to
winter,
wait,
they
too.
probably wouldn't have survived.
You have to wait.
You have to wait. Like everything else is pushing up, elephant ear is still behind.
Yeah, it could be late May before you see
Really,
anything.
seriously. And then we
I had
don't
a-
sell the black ones as like hardy varieties, but I would bet they would still come. But
Yeah.
you just got to be patient on them.
I got some 2 years ago and had a surprise last summer that portions of them came back. But it was a pleasant surprise to walk out there. Oh yeah, look at there, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Elephant ear is funny too. Like it won't come back, like you just said, Josh. Like from the main stem where it was, it may pop up 3 foot from that. Like they're funny. And then the green leaf ones, most of those are truly hardy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've had
gosh.
one for years.
They come back and they grow so fast, get so big, so quick. It's just it takes them a long time to start, but once they get started and it gets warm, they are going.
Yeah, every year I think they're done and they're not coming up. And then, mid-May, even at the end of May sometimes, I'll see one little eye like pushing up. Then I get so excited. And by the end, they're like 12 feet tall.
Yeah.
And some of those bulbs are as big as footballs.
Yeah, they are.
That's crazy. But you know what's the best thing that you can do for them?
Use EarthMix.
Use EarthMix, man.
Plant them with EarthMix. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I would say, EarthMix garden or even EarthMix the landscape would be great to plant. Mix with the soil there when you plant them. EarthMix is a great product for really any plant, not just elephant ear. So when you're thinking about digging in your garden and planting some stuff, you really need to think about the soil, because the soil is where everything starts. That's where your plant's going to get all its nutrients. It's where the roots are going to thrive. You really, really, really want a good root system for all your plants. So the key to that is good soil and healthy soil and living soil.
Yep.
That's right.
So all of our EarthMix products are inoculated with mycorrhizae, endo and ecto.
Ooh.
Endo.
And humic acid, which really creates a nice biome
Yeah.
Okay.
for the roots to grow.
Biome.
Hey, y'all, you got to know, just so y'all know, Adam, how long you been here? 24?
20 almost. It'll be 23 years in September.
23 years. And Adam is our expert soil mixologist, if you will. He mixes all of our soils. That's why we brought in garden, supernatural, and landscape. All that gets mixed by Adam. He's got the formula in his head and can do it in his sleep, probably. If you can't find Adam on the lot, he's probably mixing soil somewhere and getting that
Homogeneous mix.
Yes,
that's
getting the mix.
consistent.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very consistent. Adam's the best mixer we got. So
I'm very very meticulous with it.
You
I have
are.
a certain way I do it.
That's
So,
right.
Yeah.
But it's awesome, and it's we all use it. Tons of people use it.
We
you
use
get
it
good
and we
results.
love it.
We
There
do.
are a lot of soils out there, and EarthMix is, it's a premium brand. And in comparison to some of the other premium brands that I've tried, I personally prefer it. It's the best stuff that I've ever used. And whether it's the indoor or the outdoor or landscape, supernatural is an absolute must.
Oh, yeah.
Now, folks, you looking for
Compost.
something to do out in your yard? Come and get some EarthMix supernatural and start working
Yeah,
that
you
into
can
the soil.
you can top dress with that stuff and,
Oh, yeah.
and just really add some nutrients and just really improve your soil just by doing that.
And if you want just earthworm castings, there's an EarthMix
Got
for
that.
that.
Yep.
If you need expanded shale products for
Got that.
your own private mix,
Yep.
hey, Adam might give you some tips. He's not going to tell you all the secrets, but if you've got to use that around. Coconut
No.
core? I mean, if you need...
Coconut coir is a
Coconut?
great substitute for peat moss because it's sustainable.
And as David says, this is not the Beatles. This is EarthMix. There's no peat whatsoever
Correct.
in it. Right.
Correct.
So,
No peat.
no peat.
No.
All
Tell
right.
you what, too, it's
but it
about,
is the best.
It is the best. Yes.
It's about time for people are going to be starting seeds too. We've been seeing so many people come in here looking at our seed stock right now and buying a bunch of that stuff. And Proganics our indoor mix is, I've started all my seeds in that. It's such a light mix. It's really good for seedlings. So starting with that is a good way to go as well. There's multiple things you can use the soil with. It's not just like one, we advertise landscape as like a landscape type mix, but I use it as my container mix. I think it's the best container mix that we sell. It's awesome for a pot. Drains really well. And so there's overlap. You can use this stuff for other things.
Raised beds is amazing.
Raised beds, definitely.
Yeah.
So, good product.
Yeah, you can find it everywhere.
Hi.
Tyler
Look
Ham.
him.
Hey,
It's back.
it's back.
It's been so long.
Just for a couple weeks. So Wendy here on YouTube is asking, I bought a planted Golden Deodar Cedar from y'all on August 8th. Any thoughts on its chances to survive? As you know, cedars kind of took a hit this year.
Wendy, what does it look like right now? I want to know. I want to see a picture.
You need to know.
Okay, so Wendy, you can email that picture to info@batesnursery.com.
Even though if I see it though, what's it going to do? You
Right.
know?
Yeah,
You know?
I think like we covered earlier, with these conifers in particular, it's really going to be another, month and a half, 2 months before we really know the extent of the damage. Because like you were saying, Austin, it's likely that it depends on where it was planted,
how it was planted,
on what side of the house, was it protected, was it,
Did it get a lot of wind? Yeah, and it is new. We have to note that too.
It's a new plant.
New planting is a little bit.
Yep. Doesn't have an established root system so.
Did you water it last fall?
Yeah,
The good thing about Deodar Cedar is it doesn't need a ton of added water.
Right.
No,
that's
they're
one good thing.
Yeah, they don't like to sit in water. So
Mine looks sad. But like
lot
I
of things
said,
look
it's
sad.
She's a
starting
little
to come
Miss
back.
Happy this morning, isn't she?
I am never. All right, let's get to another question.
All right.
How to shape Chinese fringe flower?
Chinese friends.
yeah.
Loropetalum. Adam, you love Loropetalum, don't you?
Well, let's just say that Loropetalum, the red leaf varieties, I call them the methamphetamines of the plant world. Because they're beautiful, they're awesome, and you think, a red-leafed evergreen in my garden that flowers?
I think that.
And you buy them and buy them and buy them because they're so beautiful, and then every winter they die.
Oh, man.
So, but then the thing is, they're so beautiful that you keep buying them again.
That's okay.
And even though if I help you, I tell you, this is most likely not going to make it this year.
Okay.
And then some do. We can't say they all
Now
die.
the green leaf ones are
Green leaves live.
mostly hardy, and then the ones the earlier kind of
Old
kind of red leafed, those, but they get big. Like the thing is with these new ones like Purple Pixie, Purple Diamond, all those, they're the size that people want because everybody has a small area now.
Right.
They can't. The Loropetalums that live get 8 foot tall. They're like a small tree.
Yes.
So when you have, this would be perfect in this little spot. Dead as a hammer the next year. They'll come back in and buy another one.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
But if you...
Hey, that's good for business.
Okay, so Adam, if they don't die,
How do you trim them?
hear me out here. Yeah.
Well, you go ahead, Austin. You tell them how to trim them. I'm off my soapbox.
I
Wow.
see it. All right, so some can live, and if you are going to trim them, you just want to trim them uniform. This year specifically, I know Loropetalum either died or suffered great dieback from the top down, and that's typically what they do. They'll do that on a normal winter. They can lose some of that topmost growth, even the hardier varieties, like the green leaf varieties Adam was talking about, and even some purple leaf varieties that do kind of latch in and can make it or in a protected site against the wind or whatever, that do come back. All you want to do is just get them trimmed back uniform. So pick a spot where you want to take them to, and then prune all of the stems the same height, and make sure you get rid of all that dieback, all that wood that's on top. You can tell. Give it the old break test. Go to the very topmost branch and snap it, and go as far. Keep going down the stem until it doesn't just snap anymore. It just bends on you, and then that's the point where you want to take you take your pruners to it and get it to that point, and then it should flush back out. Maybe this year I'm not. Loropetalum this year is gonna.
Well, they are technically a broadleaf evergreen.
Yes.
So just like any other broadleaf evergreen, that's basically the way you want to trim them. So.
Yep, exactly.
All
But
right.
if they do live, they are pretty.
Very cool.
They are pretty.
I wouldn't plant one though. I'm with Adam. I'm Team Adam on this one.
Adam really hates that plant. If there's one thing about Adam, if he doesn't like something like
He'll say
that
it.
plant, pottery, we all know. We're all well aware. Listen, one day a
Austin, too.
pallet got put in his parking spot
Uh-oh,
full of pottery.
no.
I may or may not have said, go ahead and leave it there. Let's see what Adam does.
I knew it.
I thought he was going to fire you.
I knew it.
Hey, I didn't set it there. I just said, we
No,
can't
I
move
know
all
exactly
these
who said it there. It was Ben. He said it there.
So really, Ben started the whole thing.
Did.
Good morning, Ben, if you're watching.
Hey, Ben.
All right, when should we start fertilizing blueberries and such?
You
What a
can do it
perfect
now.
question.
You can do it now. Hollytone. I'm about to do mine here in the next week or two. So, yeah. Great
There
time to
is
do
one
it.
plant that Adam loves, and that is blueberries.
Yes.
We decorated Adam's side of the room today because he's our guest for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and because Mr. Bates is not here. So we decorated that side of the room with some plants that Adam loves, and blueberries are definitely on there. If you want to talk blueberries and you need an expert to talk about it with, come out here and talk to Adam because he knows the blueberries and grows
Love
them
'em.
and does it every year. So
And
Well,
this
the
is
one that's here is peach sorbet.
sorbet.
Yeah, I have that one in my
Wow.
house. What's awesome about peach sorbet is it's not the greatest producer
Mm-hmm.
of fruit. It will produce, but the new growth, the new leaves are this awesome peach color.
yeah.
The fall color on them is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the deep, burgundy, and the stems you can see kind of in the picture. The stems are a nice kind of pinkish red.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the winter, you get some color from them. So
Yeah. Hear me out on this. Blueberries are one of the most underused ornamental
oh sure,
plants in the
Edible landscape.
They
It's
are a
gorgeous.
beautiful plant.
Yeah.
I mean, in general, most fruiting things we don't really think of them as ornamental. We grow them in a separate spot in our orchard or area for fruit, whatever, and we don't mix them into the landscape. But blueberries can be mixed into a landscape really, really nicely, especially the backdrop of a landscape. They're really nice. That fall foliage just really holds on for a long time, so you get a long fall show.
yes, it does.
So, and
Yep.
plus you get the benefit of the fruit if it
Yep.
comes along, and
Yep.
and
the
you
birds
pick
don't
them
get it.
before the birds do.
Well, now my secret to that is just planting so many that you and the birds get them.
That's a good
Well,
one.
this one in particular says it's self-pollinating, so you don't have to buy multiple varieties.
Right, but why would you only plant one blueberry?
That's
don't
right. It's still helpful, John. Even the ones
Yeah.
that say self-pollinating, it's still so much more helpful to get more
couple.
pollen in the air.
Yeah.
The more pollen, the more pollination. I mean, it's just
Exactly.
better. So
Exactly.
cool.
And
Cool, really cool.
I'll say this: if you have planted your blueberries in a spot that doesn't have the proper acidity, the plant will let you know because it'll look a little off color with the leaves.
Yeah, and it won't really berry either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in that kind of situation or you have some freshly planted and you haven't tested your soil and you don't know, I usually pair my fertilizer routine with some soil acidifier. So I kind of mix a little bit
Well,
of
the
that.
good thing
and then
about
a little bit
Hollytone, the good thing about Hollytone is it has a lot
It
of
has it
sulfur
in
in
it,
it. It has
yes.
sulfur in it, so yeah.
So, but if you have a bag of acidifier laying
Oh,
around,
sure, yeah. Use that.
just juice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's going to love you for it. And also you can mulch with pine needles.
There you go.
Well,
Helps a little bit,
yes, yes.
It helps a
over
little.
over decades.
Yeah.
It helps. Yes,
That's right. Every little bit helps.
That's right. All right.
Okay. Are y'all ready for another question?
Why not?
I was born ready, Caroline.
I know you were.
Oh.
That's why I was excited that you're joining us on the show for the next 3 weeks because
Y'all are
born
fired
ready
up today.
Are we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Slings and arrows are flying across through the green room today, that's for sure.
It's okay. I got my shield.
There you go.
oh, no shield will save you. What can I be doing in my vegetable garden during this time?
We've already talked about one thing.
Speaking of that, I think we have a webinar that Austin will be doing.
Oh yeah, we got to
yeah.
mention the webinars.
Yep.
So when is
That's
yours?
correct.
When is yours, Austin?
It's Tuesday. It is.
It's Tuesday.
Excellent. Excellent.
And what is it, Tyler? It's planning, right? Planning your vegetable garden?
Austin, you're hosting this. Vegetable garden planning with Austin Lowen. Austin will help you weed out the right varieties to plant this year. Things that do well in Tennessee. He's got a great garden, and he had one last year that he managed extremely well. So we hope to gain lots of insight from Austin.
But what's your answer to the question, though? What should we be doing right now?
What should we? Well, first thing is, there's some cool season weeds that popped up. I know at least in my garden.
Yep.
So
Mine
if you
too.
got some time, you
Pull
got the hoe, pull the hoe out and walk
Pull 'em,
around that
pull 'em.
garden and go ahead and get those out of there. Then
Get ahead of it.
Get ahead of it.
Yeah.
That's the key with any vegetable garden. I'm telling y'all, with any vegetable garden, the biggest key is work. You got to put in work with your hands. I mean, we do not want to get herbicides into our garden. Just don't go ahead and get that out of your head. We're not doing that. We're going to weed it properly, either with our hands or with a hoe or however you'd want to weed. Do it and stay ahead of the game. So like I said, that like henbit and chickweed, those little things that like will really pop whenever the weather warms up enough over the wintertime. Those are starting to enter the garden. So one thing now for sure is to get it back clean. I went ahead and dropped a cover crop. I dropped down some annual ryegrass, and it has not germinated yet. And although it has, the package said about 14 days, and it has not even been that yet. So I haven't seen any germination. And we also got super cold and icy, so I haven't seen it yet. But I'm hoping this week these temperatures will kind of wake that up.
Yeah, you'll see it by Tuesday.
I'm hoping so. Yeah, and that'll just be little blades of grass. If you see any fields or whatever, and you see all the fields that are covered with green right now, that's all winter wheat. That the farmers used as a cover crop / cash crop. They can harvest that and use it later. But that stuff really likes it cold, and it's good to just kind of keep that atop of the soil. It helps with weed prevention, and it kind of helps with just the general building of your soil. Those are two things you can be doing now. And then, like we're going to do on the webinar, planning it out. You know, I did my garden last year ornamentally. I wanted it to look really pretty as well as functional, and that's just me. That's just how I am. But I'm thinking about. I sit on my front porch every night, and I look out over my garden. And I think, okay, how am I going to plant it this year? Where am I going to put stuff? How am I going to make it look good but also be functional? So, you know, just maybe you can even draw it out. You get your little notebook out and sketch out where you're going to put stuff, where you're going to put your seeds. Too.
Where did you mess up last year like I did? I mean, I put certain things in the wrong portion of the garden that needed to be in more sun than was there.
Well, and to some degree, you do want to do some crop rotation anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's another, definitely key. So
you don't want to put tomatoes in the same spot all the time because then you start getting damping off and all kinds of other bad soil diseases. So, think about how you're going to move them but still make them work. Josh, I didn't have, I had a really productive garden last year. I did really well with it. The only annoying thing, and something that drove me insane.
The corn.
Yeah.
I love growing corn. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. It's because you start from a tiny seed and you get to like a 6-foot plant in the growing season. It's amazing to me. So I love doing that. But one morning, whatever it was, the squirrels. They came and got every bit of my corn. I mean, every bit of it. My kids ate some. They got a few ears that I picked like the day before, but then that night, the squirrels, it was like they just had a corn party.
They had a corn party.
Squirrel is really good in cornmeal if you fry it up just right. Just a little dressing on top of it.
Yeah.
Jason Walden's commenting on the Facebook page about, I assume that he's talking about what can we do now for our gardens. He says, till in, Till''N.
Tillin'.
Turn and over.
Yes.
Turning over.
And chickweed, he refers to as the poor man's lettuce.
Yeah. It ain't wrong. And that's a great point. No. Yeah, great point. Make sure your soil is not just like a hard pan to where water just runs off of that. The more you can kind of turn it, that's a great point. I recently just cultivated mine, old school style. My mom got me this old school 1-wheel cultivator.
Nice.
That, like, no motor at all. It's just manpower. This guy. Ugh. But anyway, it was a lot of hard work. But I got that soil turned up and loosened up to where it'll hold water.
Right. We were talking about supernatural earlier. That's what I do this time of year is I'll put my supernatural, put me about a good, because I've got some 4x8 raised beds. I've got 3 of them. And so I'll put maybe 3 or 4 bags in each bed, get it evenly layered, and then I'll just turn it as I'm, turning the whole thing. I'm mixing some new nutrients in there because, every year those plants are going to use what nutrients is in there. So you've got to, reinvigorate it every year. So.
Yep. But it was a great point from what they said. Yeah. Get it turned.
There is a lot to do.
Yeah.
In your garden this time of year, if you can stomach the weather, which this weekend
that's what I'm saying.
Like we can
come out here and get some supernatural and go, get in your garden
and go wild.
Is it available bulk?
It is.
Okay, you can get supernatural on your trailer if you drive up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So would you recommend, so established raised bed 2 seasons in, would you just recommend topping off with another layer, or do you think that soil needs to be changed?
No.
No.
No, I just
Keep topping
this
it.
will be my third year, and I'm just going to put Supernatural in there and just keep turning it. And because you're adding, essentially Supernatural is compost, but eventually it breaks down into soil. I mean, that's what all organic matter does eventually.
Right.
So,
And the beneficial fungi and things you get in the soil, you know, you
Fungi.
make they're fun guys. They make a healthy soil. You don't want to just replace it all the time. Like what
No.
you get down there is like good stuff. You don't see it. You don't know what's happening, but like mycelium, you know, like little root hairs and
Yep.
things, like they just produce beneficial stuff. So yeah, adding to the top is better than replacing everything every single year. I think.
David talked about that in his newsletter this week, actually. The function of endo and ecto mycorrhiza fungi, which create kind of like a sheath and extra structures on the roots to
Yes.
help absorb
Yes.
nutrients and water.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. It's a
It's-
living soil.
and that's why we harp on conditioning your soil like that. So
So the $1.20 for the 5 cubic foot bag is not it's false economy, is what you say?
You're buying like a bag of bark.
Okay.
yeah,
not
the
good.
cheap soils that you get at your box stores
Or the mini market. That's my favorite place to get it, is at the mini market.
Yeah,
you
there.
know?
Yeah, you could go get your gas and your soil.
Yeah, right at the same time.
You know, why not? They Austin's right. They are pretty much wood chips ground really fine, and there's just
Pallets
no,
and-
there's no nutrient value really, and it's definitely not living.
You know why they
So
make it that
They
cheap?
sterilize it.
maybe a little bit of nitrogen.
To sucker people into buying.
No, they can't make it any cheaper.
Right. If they
Think
could,
about
they
it.
would. If they could,
Yeah.
they would.
Yep.
Would you argue you'd be better putting grass clippings on your
Yes.
plants than
Yes.
that soil?
I mean, here's the thing about that, though. You know, when you start thinking about your house, you're trying to compost yourself, that's a whole different story, because you don't want to add green material too much, because then you're going to leach nitrogen out of the soil in order for it to break down. So you want to have that in its separate thing with green and brown material kind of together,
Leaves,
turning
not
with
meat,
oxygen. Yeah, and then once that's pretty much done, you know, then you can add it to your soil. That's, you know.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Very, very
Right.
cool.
Wow. All right.
Let's get a question.
My pothos has grown out of control. Can I cut it back? Yes, you can. You can give that bad girl a haircut. I always tell people, a lot of people come in and they're like, my plant's gotten too big or it's growing weird. Can I cut it? Won't it hurt the plant? No. It promotes new growth. You're going to get a healthier branch or a healthier, leaf coming out. I love cutting all of my plants. A little bit aggressively, but you can
See, I
cut it
told
back
you she was in a mood.
as long as you leave, like I would say a couple inches, which I'm sure you will. It's going to push out new growth from there, and it will start trailing again. So you can, control that by giving it a haircut. It's not going to hurt your plant. It's going to make it happier.
The good thing about your plant is that it's too big. That means it's happy.
Yes,
It means
it's happy.
It's doing well, and that means that it can take a cut.
But then you're taking the streams away. Are you?
Did you say it's dreams?
Yeah.
We haven't proven that the dreams are stored in the leaves yet.
Well, what you're going to do with those dreams is, you can have a new plant. You're going to strip off the bottom leaves. So once you take that, I wish I had one of them here, but if this was your plant and this was what was growing out of control. Oh, we do have one. Gosh, I'm
Right in
such
front
a
of you.
ding dong today. So if this was too long for you, I would suggest cutting it about here and then take this beautiful little strand of gorgeous
Pothos.
Scindapsus leaves, take off the lower few, and then you can stick that in some water and it'll root pretty quickly. I mean, you can also just stick it straight in soil. They'll usually root from there. Although water propagation with these in particular, I believe works a little bit quicker. And then you can stick that back in that same pot if you want a fuller plant, or you can make, little baby plants and give them to your friends, or
You need rooting
put them around your
hormone
house.
for that?
No,
No.
they root like crazy.
Yeah.
They will
Okay.
take over.
But
It's
you
so
know-
much fun too once you start to get good at cutting and then good at sticking and seeing roots develop and then potting them. Like it's a hobby. You'll love it.
Yeah, they'll be all over your house.
Yeah.
Like they are mine.
It's like my mother. She can't get rid of any plant. Like she can't throw something away. So she'll like separate an aloe and put it in like 8 different pots around the house.
That's my mom
And
too.
she just, it keeps gathering the same plant. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm like,
You might get a sunburn.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I never even knew that aloe vera came in a bottle.
No.
I didn't know that. My mother just had a number of plants, and anytime we got sunburnt, she would cut that leaf off and smear it all over us.
Oh, aloe is the best.
It's the best.
And that's the best application, too. When it comes straight out of that leaf, it really works good.
Smear it all
stinks,
over.
though.
Hey,
But if
maybe
you-
we should talk
It's
about
the latex.
Huh?
the best
Place to get
your
aloe?
Yeah.
Your aloe,
Yeah.
yes. Or your pothos.
Well, just come on out here. Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Yes.
3810 Whites Creek Pike.
0.9 miles north of Bradley Parkway at exit 19.
So easy to get
Yeah.
to.
It's worth the drive
It's
from
worth the
everywhere.
drive. We have all kinds of stuff. Anything you can think of, we have it for
Yep.
your garden, for your home, plant-wise and soil-wise.
Mm-hmm.
We also
And supplies-wise.
supplies-wise, and we also have a number of individuals here, some of which you've already seen this morning,
Yes.
that know a lot about how to.
Some of which choose to remain anonymous
some
until
some
you meet
do.
them here.
Yes.
And they're very friendly.
All very friendly and all very knowledledgeable. So
You got a bunch of seeds in this week, I heard.
got
Yes.
seeds
Seeds are
in.
in.
We are stocked
Yep.
up with seeds.
Yep.
People are chomping at the bit. I mean, I'm seeing people on social media sharing what you should be sowing right now. If you have a situation, a setup where you can nurture those seedlings in the early seasons like this.
Which we have some. Don't we have some stuff in the garden center there, Caroline? Some seed trays and stuff like that.
Yes,
to
we
start?
do.
Yeah.
And little pots.
So-
We
don't-
have all the stuff for seed starting. We don't have heat mats, though.
And grow
don't
lights?
have
No.
those.
No grow lights.
Yeah,
You know that. You know we don't have that.
I know. One day we will. But in the meantime, we do have everything to get that little seed going and germinating, and then you can supplement with the other things that help it along.
Hey, by the way,
By the way-
we were talking about a little bit of garden prep or what to be doing. What do y'all think about it? I'm thinking it's about time to drop some pea seeds. Some of them snow peas, sugar
Sure.
snaps.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and get them down. Or like even if you like to grow sweet peas. I know me and Caroline talk about this a lot.
Oh, I love them.
We all love sweet, and this is the ornamental. Okay, I'm talking about the annual sweet pea.
Not the affectation. Sweet
Yeah,
pea.
not like the food. I mean, we can, like I said, you can treat them
Or
the
the
same
person.
way. But if you start sweet peas too late, you never get
don't
what
get
you
'em.
want. So you
Yeah.
got to drop them now and let them naturally come up early like they do, and then send out their foliage. Keep an eye on the weather whenever they are up. If they're going to get really cold, we might need to, throw a cover over them. But peas specifically,
Wow.
they need to get down. They need to get dropped so they can come up when they need to come up,
Well,
so you can get a harvest.
I would also think most lettuces you would sow
Yeah,
right
you
now,
could-
right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
pretty much.
Oh yeah, I'm
do
about to
lettuce.
sow another
Yep.
round for
And
me.
Garlic and onions, y'all. I mean,
It's time.
I don't see why not, as long as we don't get too wet. I mean, but garlic, you need to plant kind of now.
Yep.
I've got some cloves at the house. I really want to get in. I just haven't figured out where I'm going to put them yet.
Better
But
figure that out.
I know I
Better figure it
love
out
fresh
quick.
garlic. Oh my
Oh, it's so
God.
good.
And it's so easy to grow. So easy to grow.
But speaking of sweet peas and the ornamental, the more flowering one, which isn't, I mean, you can still eat it. You can put it on salads. You can decorate stuff with it and then eat it. But our very own Melissa McKay has been able to grow them. I've never really been able to grow them to where they're going to flower enough for me to cut them and bring them in the house because we get too hot here and then they die. So like Austin was talking about, you have to start them early. But Melissa on her pages, and she does our Flower Power flower arrangements, has great advice on how to grow a lot of things that can be a little bit tricky here in Middle Tennessee. So another employee to come out and talk to. All right, knockout rose question.
Okay.
When can I prune my knockout roses?
Anytime.
3:30.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Anytime.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, anytime.
AM or PM.
But right now is a totally
AM.
fine time too. So go out there and whack that thing back.
And
It
as
really
far
needs to be
as far
done.
as how much, it doesn't matter.
doesn't. Knockouts
Doesn't
are
matter.
insane.
Yeah.
There's
I have a blushing pink. Actually, I have two blushing pink knockouts.
What's
One
it
of them.
embarrassed about?
Do what?
What's it embarrassed about?
I'm not sure. I never asked it.
Gosh.
I never asked it, and I never volunteered the information. But
better
I
not
have
ask it.
I have butchered them at least 4 times. I literally and they get like 3 or 4 foot tall in 1 year. So
Yeah.
So
yeah, you
cut
cut
away.
them, you just make them mad.
Yeah, I cut mine almost all the way back last year, and they were about, I don't know, at least 4.5 feet tall. No, they were taller than me. Taller than that. So
well, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
4 feet. 4
everything's
feet
taller
tall.
than you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Except for my
fa-
mother.
Debbie on
Good
Facebook.
morning, Sherry Gant.
Yeah.
Shout out Sherry.
Yep. And Paul.
Hey, Paul.
What we got over there, Josh?
Debbie says she has 2 potted diva gardenias budding right now and can't wait to see the blooms.
Nice.
Greg from Corinth, Mississippi wants to know if the freeze will have any effect on moles or voles.
No.
No.
They were under the dirt.
Joy is asking, my oak holly lost all of its leaves during the freeze this year.
That's another, yeah. So there are, we were saying earlier that the American holly has done fairly well, and that's because it's native. The red holly varieties are not native. They are, I believe, Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are crosses between, I want to say Mary Nell and some other.
Yeah, they're definitely crosses. I know that. I'm not sure they're parentage.
Yeah, and so I don't think they're dead. I think that they've been scorched, and those leaves are going to fall off, and they will flush back, especially if you trim them.
She said she did ask, "Is there hope?" There is hope.
Yes,
there is hope, Joy.
There's always hope,
especially if they were established. Established hollies are probably not dying. Even if they don't come back from those sticks, though, I would assume they're coming back from the roots too. Whenever a plant does come back from the roots, you can see how aggressive they can be. They really, really shoot up. So you can see, even if you do lose a lot of your top growth, you can see a lot of new growth from the spring, and it'll get back big again. And it's kind of like a restart.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Very cool. We have any more questions?
We got one more from Instagram over here. Sherry Gant texted me and it made the question go away. All right. Good, possibly native. Mom, quit messing with my phone. Good, possibly native plant suggestion to replace my laurels.
Okay. So we're going to get this a lot. So I just mentioned one way earlier in the show, which is Leucothwae. That would be a good sub for autoleucin or the dwarf laurels. It wouldn't be a good one for the bigger ones. But I would say, as far as a skip laurel, I don't know, Austin. I mean,
that's a tricky one
for
native. The biggest problem with us and our natives we've talked about is that here in Middle Tennessee, or even all Tennessee, our natives are typically deciduous. We really don't have a ton of evergreens that are native. So Adam mentioned Leucothwae. That's one.
They did say possibly native.
Possibly. So. Okay.
Yeah, so Distillium is out because they're actually less hardy than even laurels are.
Yeah.
So
what did the best, or one of the best for our evergreen shrubs this year was yews. Yews, yews. That's a very, very hardy plant, and they haven't even seemed to be affected from this cold at all. They like it a little bit chilly. They don't like it much hotter than where we're at. I know of a guest that comes up here from Atlanta every year, and he usually comes out to buy a lot of fancy plants, and he tries to grow cephalotaxis, which is like a false yew, down in Atlanta, and they almost die every year. So yew would be a great option to replace laurels. It's similar size and shape. It's just
I would say I got this question at the garden club meeting I had the other day, and another answer of mine was viburnum, particularly either Pragens or a leatherleaf. Those would be great replacement for a skip laurel.
That's true. Very, very hardy. Viburnums are super hardy. You can't barely hurt them at all. And they bloom, and a lot of them smell good.
Yeah,
they do.
That's an option. All right.
Well, that's it on my Instagram end for questions.
Okay, we have whatchamacallit, a Google Forms question.
Google Forms.
Whatchamacallit, that's a candy bar, Tyler.
Yeah, it's a really good one, too.
When is the best time to prune a crepe myrtle?
Right now.
Oh,
you go out there and do it now. Get them loppers. You know what I like to use on a crepe myrtle? Sawzall. I love a good sawzall. I've got a really good one. It's from Porter Cable. It's not super heavy. It's really light. I keep a little small blade on it, and I prune with that, and it's been great. I can hold it one-handed, get rid of those limbs. I got to do my crepe myrtle soon. I did not prune mine last year, and it didn't have the greatest flower show. You kind of have to top them out just a little bit. I'm not saying get in there and murder it, but go in there and get rid of those old seed heads. And when you do that, you'll produce more stems, and then in the summer comes along, you'll produce more flowers with that. So.
For the sake of our lawyers, don't use a sawzall one-handed, please. No. Don't do it also.
Always wear your chaps and your safety goggles and hearing protection as well.
Please do that.
Yeah. I'll be on the top row of a ladder, one-handed sawzall and a crepe myrtle.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Love it.
Safety first with this one.
Yes, everyone out there, please don't do that.
No, don't do that. Joy has another question. She says that there's an area in her yard that plants always die. She's mulched, she's added compost, and nothing.
That's Nothing. Weird. You know what? get a soil test. See what's going on down there. It may be something's going on, or maybe a black walnut's close by. That could be something. But either way, if you can send a sample to the Ellington Ag Center, they can look at it under a scope and really show you or let you know if there's anything weird going on down there. And then, you can come to us with their report and we can help you get some sort of product that will hopefully fix what you've got going on. But it sounds like there's something down there.
Yeah, she says she has a lot of clay soil in addition, and now wants to know if there's an amendment that would break up clay.
Enlighten. Enlighten the
that's the expanded
shale. That's gonna. I mean, depending on how much clay is there, it could take a decent bit of it, but it will break it up.
But you just don't throw that on top.
No,
You're gonna have to work that into the soil.
Yeah.
So, good.
All right, before we end today, I know we're getting close. We do have a lot of Botanical Bootcamp webinars coming up, which we mentioned before. And Tyler, I don't know if you have the calendar over there and maybe want to tell our listeners what's coming up.
Ben has one on Thursday, right? Doesn't Ben have one on Thursday?
Yeah, here, I'll give you the whole rundown. So, first of all, yesterday, our February Botanical Bootcamp monthly newsletter came out. And if you haven't signed up for that, you should go to the Bootcamp page on the Bates Nursery website. It's this third tile down underneath David's newsletter. Sign up, you click on that. Boom, you can put in your email and get that. So, like we said, February 7th is the vegetable garden planting webinar with Austin. Then February the 9th, which is Thursday, that will be raised bed gardening with Ben. So he's going to go over everything, including types of raised beds, and it's going to be comprehensive. The following week, which is Tuesday, Valentine's Day, we decided to have a little fun with hearty plants, which are plants that have heart-shaped features. So, think like...
Or just also very hardy. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
hardy hearts.
We're going to talk about that too. And then later that week, February 16th, Thursday, Caroline will be teaching hardy houseplants.
Nice.
So houseplants that, in her words, you have to. The only way you can kill them is by loving them too much.
Yeah. And so you gave all your love away on Valentine's Day. Can't give your plants anymore.
Yes.
I'll tell you the ones.
So, and then following that up, February 23rd, Caroline comes back with how to clean houseplants, which we haven't covered this here, but one day I was like going into the greenhouse and I saw Caroline cleaning leaves, but she was also using neem oil. And I thought, what a cool kind of, two birds, one stone kind of way, polish your leaves and help kill mites and aphids. So
not the maybe.
That's February.
Very
and hopefully we'll have room for March, but we're really busy. We're probably going to be really busy this year. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
But you can tune into them live or we archive them. So you'll be able to watch them anytime after they stream once Tyler gets them up.
Yep. And we have one other Google Forms question. Okay. We would like a centerpiece tree or shrub for the corner of our house. Something that would be 8 to 15 feet in height. The spot catches quite a bit of wind and also has full sun all day. Not sure if it ever has a period of shade. What are your suggestions to plant there? We thought about hardy hibiscus, but we're open to other ideas too.
8 to 15 foot tall.
Yeah, hardy hibiscus ain't getting that
big.
No. I mean, I love hardy hibiscus. Don't get me wrong, but
it will get 8 to 15 foot tall.
What?
Althea.
There you go. That's a good one.
Well, river birch.
That's a Rosa Sharon Adam's talking about, and that is. You talk about a hardy plant. I was going to talk about that one on our little Valentine's thing. Rosa Sharon is technically a hibiscus, a different species altogether, but that does get 8 to 15 feet tall. It does drop its leaves, but it blooms consistently late summer all the way for a long time and throws a new bloom every day. That would be a good one, and it's super hardy. And it'll take sun all day long. It doesn't care at all.
Mainly, you have to worry about it spreading a little bit. So I don't know if there are any other varieties that don't reseed as much.
No.
Yeah, they are they are prolific bloomers, but that also means prolific reseeding.
Hey, man.
I'm not trying to harp on your game, bro.
I was just trying to, go without the hibiscus thing.
But that's one of those places in the house.
See.
What do you like? I mean, for the most part.
And as he was reading the question, I was thinking, well, you really have to have one-on-one conversation, because we may suggest something, you go, no, I don't like those, and then we have to move on to something else. So
happens all the time.
Yeah. So but I would
Do you
say,
want it to be evergreen all year long?
Correct.
Do you want it to be
right? Well, a heart themed plant would be a red bud, maybe like a Merlot or something that stays kind of small. That you could do that in the corner of a house.
Hey, real quick, we got a YouTube question from Gina. I overwinterized agapanthus in the garage in pots. The leaves are still green. When should I cut those back, or should I?
I don't really think you probably should. Just let them be up. They're still using energy. If they've got green leaves, they're still photosynthesizing, and they're giving energy down to that kind of bulbous root zone. That's really good, though. You got agapanthus to stay up. A lot of times, especially this winter, I don't think agapanthus is coming back at all. That looks beautiful in California, but out here, it's not great. So, yeah, keep them up. Don't do anything, and just when weather warms up, plant them out in the ground or in the pot.
Alrighty, folks. Music means that this edition of the At Home Show is coming to a close, but I want to thank everybody for being in here this morning. All the questions and all the interaction. Hey, that Facebook page is out there, and when you can interact and answer each other's questions as well. I noticed that there was some commenting going back and forth with each other. All y'all are at homies, so just go with it and have fun. Come back next Saturday morning, because we're going to be here from the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery and Garden Center for your Saturday morning tradition, the At Home Show. See you then.